Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy to be here today. And I am so happy that you're curious about what happens with the water we use. Every day we wash our hands, we take baths, we even flush the toilet. Today we're going to find out where that water goes and, spoiler alert, how it's cleaned up, recycled, and goes back into the rivers where it's safe for fish and other creatures to live there. I'm Kathy, and I'm an environmental engineer who works in the pollution prevention department at the wastewater treatment plant. And today I'm here with some of my friends who also work here. Today we're going to get a little help from the StoryBots to start answering some of your questions. And once the show is over, my friends and I are going to answer your questions live from our wastewater treatment plant. So please get curious and send those questions in. And StoryBots, take it away.
Okay. Hey.
Hello and welcome back. We hoped you enjoyed the show. Right now, I'm at the wastewater treatment plant, and we're going to show some slides of what it looks like here. So welcome to the Nine Springs Wastewater Treatment Plant. It's located in Madison, and millions of gallons of your used water comes here each day. We get enough water to fill 500,000 bathtubs each day. If you happen to drain a bathtub or flush a toilet in McFarland or Verona or DeForest, Wanakee, Middleton, and many other cities, towns, and villages, your water will come here too. We're really lucky in this area that we have a lot of fresh water. It comes from deep down in the ground, and we pipe it to our houses. And we turn on the faucets and we have that fresh water, and then we use it. But that water actually, as the show said, goes into big pipes that are underground. It runs through these big pipes. You can see them down there in the hole. And sometimes we need to take it and put it and pump it up. See how there's a human down there. See how big these pumps are? We use these big pumps to move that water to the wastewater treatment facility. When it gets to our facility, it spends about a day getting clean. And then we pump it to a stream where fish can swim, or we could even canoe. So the water that you use, we get to clean up and then return and make into a freshwater stream. During the treatment process, we separate the clean water from the solids, but we also clean up those solids and use those for fertilizer to help farmers grow food. So after spending months here getting cleaned up, those solids are loaded onto big trucks, and we bring that fertilizer to farm fields, and we use these cool tractors to inject the fertilizer into the ground, and that helps the plant. It's the food for the plants to grow. Our treatment plant also makes energy. Do you remember when the bug tooted in the show? Well, we catch that gas and we use it as fuel. We catch enough to fuel about a third of the amount of energy we need to operate our facility. While this place is really, really cool, you are the most important person in protecting our water. The only things that should go down the drain are pee, poo, and a little toilet paper. Everything else needs to go in a trash can. If something else goes down the drain, it could clog the sewer from your home and cause water to back up into your house. Or it could clog the big pipes on the way here or the pumps. And if it happens to make it all the way to our plant, we use big screens to remove it and put it in dumpsters. And then we send it to the landfill just like it would have gone if it was in the trash can at your house. So we hope that you can help us protect the environment and keep our water as clean as possible. So with that, I have all kinds of friends here at the wastewater treatment plant, and we're all going to talk a little bit about our jobs and how we help clean up the water. And if you have questions, please let us know. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Catherine.
All right, our first question came in already. But before we get to that question, I'd like all of the wastewater workers who are here, all of the Madison Metropolitan Sewage District employees, to turn on their cameras, turn on their sound, unmute themselves, introduce themselves, and tell us all a little bit about what you do at the wastewater treatment plant. What is your job like, and how does that help clean up the water? So let's start off with Rachel here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm an engineer here at our wastewater treatment plant, and my job as an engineer is to design and construct projects. I'm actually at a project site right now, and these projects could either be for repair if something doesn't work, or for when we are growing and need something bigger to get the job done. So behind me is one of the projects that I'm working on, the current job site. So that building that you see, that's where our wastewater first comes into the plant. The used water that you send us comes here first. And there was, the equipment in the building wasn't working that well. So as part of my job, I analyzed the problem, came up with a design, and now you are seeing our solution. We had to replace some pipes below ground in order to fix the problem, to better monitor and control the flow coming into our plant. These pipes were very big, 3 to 4 feet in diameter. So that gives you a sense of how much used water as a community you're sending to our plant. So that's just a little bit about what I do here.
Thanks, Rachel. Let's go to Marty next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Marty, and one of my roles at the plant is part of the team that helps make sure the water is clean before it even gets to the plant or our facility. So it's much easier for our facility to clean the water when it comes in pretty clean to start with. And so behind me, you can see a nice, looks like a little small lake, but it's really a wetland. And this is an area where we're able to put this clean water sometimes when we have too much of it to go into the stream. So we kind of hold it here in the wetland, and you probably can't see that close, but there are some nice birds and things out there. So that's one way we recycle the water, by putting it back out into nature to be used again and again. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the solids. Part of the team I'm with recycles the solids for the farm fields. You saw that in Kathy's presentation. And I'm going to flip my camera around here, and you can see some of the machinery, the green and yellow machinery and this goes onto the farm fields and puts those solids that we collect and recycles those to help plants grow. And I'll kind of pan around. You can see our big building there with some of the big machines. You can see things hanging off of it that digs in the dirt and helps the plants grow. So that's some of the things that we do here at the plant for our team.
Thanks, Marty. Let's go down to the laboratory and meet some of our chemists. Do we have Carol and Jess?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
All right, we gotcha.
Oh, good. Hello. I'm Jessica, and at the wastewater treatment plant, I work as a chemist. And in my job, I run scientific tests that allow us to see if the treatment plant is running properly and to make sure what is leaving the plant is okay to go back into the environment, as well as that scientific tests that help with the different research projects that are going on that will allow us to come up with better ways or improve the ways that we treat the water so that it is okay to go back into the environment.
And I am the lab manager. My name is Carol. And in the lab, we run thousands of samples every year. And we have many different tests that we run. So as the lab manager, I make sure that all those numbers are right, because people want to use it to run the plant or to make sure what we're putting out into the environment is good, or how to improve the treatment plant when they do research. So I make sure that the numbers all look good and that people can make good decisions. Once we've decided that all those numbers and all those tests are good, it's my job to send out those results to people so they can do their job and make good choices. So we're sitting here in one of the labs where we test for metals. They're very small amounts in the wastewater, and we want to make sure that they're at low enough levels that it's safe to go out into the environment.
Excellent. Now let's pop over to our maintenance facility and meet Tom.
Hi, can you see me? Yep. My name is Tom, and I am an electrician, and I work with other maintenance people here in the maintenance facility at the wastewater treatment facility. And we maintain the parts and pieces of the treatment plant and the collection system, and make sure that it works correctly. And we even install some equipment. And I work with other groups like people who maintain the facilities, so the buildings, people who work in the collection system, so that's the tunnels that are underground that carry the wastewater. And I also work with mechanics who work with things like pumps and other equipment like that. And our job is important because it takes a lot of technology and equipment to get your wastewater to the facility, treat the water, and then put it back into the environment clean and safe. And sometimes equipment fails, and we need to go out there and make sure it's working properly so everything works. And we even make and put in equipment, like behind us, we have a lot of wires, and this thing that's essentially a computer, and it will operate the equipment that we have at the plant and make everything work properly. So we do a lot of different work and with a lot of different pieces of equipment, and there's a lot going into getting the water treated.
Great, thanks, Tom. Let's pop down to the next workshop and see if Kody's there. All right, sounds like Kody might not be able to connect with us at this moment. So I think I saw him coming in just then.
Kody, it looks like your camera is on, but it's black. I wonder if your sound.
It's not letting me, it's not popping up anything, I'm not sure.
All right.
Maybe you can just talk, we can hear you.
What's that?
All right, while Kody's checking if he has a lens cover, I think let's answer our first question that came in from the audience, and then we'll check back and see if we can get a quick tour of the workshop that he's in. So the very first question that came up, and MMSD workers, you can turn on your videos if you'd like. The first question is, after the water is cleaned, is it safe to drink? Let's send that question down to Kathy.
Hello, it's a fantastic question. So what we're making here at the treatment plant is clean river water. So in order to take the water that we're making that's safe for rivers, lakes, and streams to drinking water, you would have to take it through additional disinfection steps. So just like you wouldn't drink the water out of the local stream or the lake, I wouldn't drink the water that comes right from here. But a lot of people around the world take the treated water, which we call treated effluent, and they treat it in further disinfection steps, and they do use it as drinking water. So, while we don't do that in Madison, it is done around the world. Water is really a special, scarce element.
Okay, our next question, which is also about what happens to water after it's cleaned up, or in the process, is do you clean water that hasn't been used the same way as you clean used water? So if we think about when you're washing your hands, there's a whole lot of water and only a tiny, tiny little bit of dirt or a tiny little bit of soap, but that all goes into the same drain, into the same pipes, and to the wastewater treatment facility. So does one of our panelists here want to take that question? Okay.
All the water comes in together, and so.
All right, it looks like we have our chemist getting ready to go for it.
Can you hear me?
We gotcha.
Okay, so all that water comes in and it comes in together, whether it's from the sink or the toilet, and it goes through the same steps. So first we use gravity that makes everything that's heavy settle out. And then we use bacteria and really small organisms to clean up the water. And then we use different parts of the plant, but all the water gets treated the same. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. All right. Another question just came in. We've gotten a couple of them about UV light. What actually is UV light? I answered in the chat for a couple people, but basically to sum it up, it's just really strong sunlight, and it comes from special light bulbs that are so bright, you have to wear sunglasses to look at them. Otherwise you'll hurt your eyes. So it's ultraviolet. UV is the shortening of ultraviolet, and that just means really, really strong sunlight. And on that same topic, there was a question about after you add bleach and use UV light, do you remove the bleach or does it stay in the water? Can we send this question down to Marty to answer?
I can answer that. So actually in Madison, we do not use bleach, so we don't really have to worry about that. We just use the light. But other treatment plants that may also use bleach, they actually run it through the bleach and then filter out the bleach, and the bleach breaks down. And so by the time it actually gets discharged or sent to the river or lake, you don't have to worry about the bleach doing the same job it did at the plant. So it's completely safe, but we do not use the bleach in Madison. We just use the light.
All right, our next question. How long does it take to clean the water? The water makes it to the treatment plant, usually within about 24 hours. And then within 1 day, it's returned back to the environment. So it's a pretty quick process. All right, and there was another question about how many days does it take? Just 1 day. Okay, well, I want to do another quick round robin here with all of the wastewater workers and circle back to Kody to make sure he can introduce himself and tell you a little bit about his job, which is very important to the treatment plant. Kody?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, I can't get my video to work, but I can talk quick if you like.
That would be great. Could you tell the audience a little bit about where you're at and how your job fits into the wastewater treatment plant?
So I'm actually in one of our shops right now, and this is where we work on some of our equipment. I'm a locator, and we look at maps, meet with contractors to find where our pipes are. We also sample for and then send it to the lab.
Great, thanks, Kody. So as you've seen, there are lots and lots of different kinds of jobs at the wastewater treatment plant. We have engineers, chemists, electricians, people who are specialized in reading maps and protecting the environment. For one of our panelists, how about, we haven't heard from Tom in a second, how many people work at the wastewater treatment plant?
Well, I believe it's about 100 and change. Yeah. But yeah, in the various work groups, it'd be hard for me to kind of easily break that down. But yeah, that's about 100 people who work there.
Yeah, and what?
Sorry. So we got a frozen screen there. I didn't catch what you said.
Catherine, you're breaking up, but yeah, there's over 100 people that work here in very different types of jobs. And we need every single person and every different expertise to really clean the water and return it, the water, the solids, and the energy safely back into the environment. Catherine, are you back? All right, I think we're gonna have all the workers each tell a little bit about their favorite part of the work that they do. So Tom, since you're on, do you want to start?
Sure. I didn't even realize I was on. Okay. So I'd say that my favorite part of what I do here at the plant, at the treatment facility, is solving problems. Because often we have millions of parts and pieces that are part of the wastewater treatment process. So figuring out what's wrong with any piece that's going on, or going, malfunctioning any particular day is interesting to kind of work through those problems. That's I guess what my favorite part of the job is, solving problems.
That's very cool. We got a question in on how deep are the underground pipes? And I think I'll have Rachel answer that and then talk a little about her favorite part of her job.
Sure, that's a great question. So some of the pipes are very deep, even as much as 40 feet deep below the ground surface. They could also be shallower than that, but they can be quite deep. And my favorite part of my job is working with people. So right now I'm on a construction site. I'm going to flip around the screen, but you can see all the different people here that I get to work with on a daily basis and talk to, figure things out, coordinate with. So I think the people are my favorite parts.
Very cool. Thank you. Jessica and Carol, do you want to talk a little about your favorite part?
Yeah, I also will say that I agree with Rachel. The people that we work with here at the district are fantastic, as well as I like in my job that there's a wide variety of things that I do each day. We run over 20 different types of analyses here and different tests. And so there's things like solids, we analyze for the more chunky portions of samples, and we run things like phosphorus, where we need to make sure that those levels are low, so that that grows all the like plant material in the lakes and the streams. We want that to be low, so we have nice clean streams. We run metals analysis for the really, really small particles and bacteria to make sure that the water is safe at safe levels for people to enjoy in the streams. And so I really enjoy that I get to run all of these different types of tests, and each day is different.
How many tests does the lab run in a year, a day, a week?
So we run about 80,000 tests in a year. So I guess that works out to be, is that 707,000 tests every month? So we're pretty
That's
busy doing a variety of things.
That's a lot of work.
Samples, so it's a wide variety in our workspace.
So I guess I'm going to copy Rachel and Jess, because I think what I love about my job is it's interesting. Every day is a little different. You never know what's going to happen that day, and keeps you busy, and you get to work with really great people that are very interesting. So it's a great place to work.
It's fantastic. So we got another question here. And how many gallons of water are cleaned per week? Well, we get about 40 million gallons of water. It's a really big number every single day here. So in a week, that's almost 300 million gallons of water that comes through this plant and that we clean and return to the environment. Kody, I'd like you to talk a little bit about what you like about your job, and how do you find things that are underground if you can't see them?
Hi, I like being outside every day. Just working with different contractors is always fun. And then how we find the pipe is we use mapping, GPS stuff, and then we use different locate techniques. Kind of hard to explain, but it's all very interesting.
Thank you. And Marty, what is it that you like about your job?
Well, the most favorite thing I like about my job is that we take care of the water. We know that humans can't make water yet. We haven't figured that one out. So we got to protect the water we have. So the fact that we recycle water that comes from our houses, from the ground to our houses, back to the stream, that's super exciting. But the really exciting thing I like is that, would you ever think someone who works at a wastewater treatment facility would work with farmers? Who would ever think that? But farmers need fertilizer, and you have to get fertilizer from underground. And there's not a lot of that either. It's hard for us to make the good fertilizer. So we use our natural fertilizer, we recycle it back to the farmers. And so then you get to work with these really cool machines, and I'm gonna flip this around, get a close up here. You can see how big these machines are, and they inject the fertilizer, the nutrients for the plants under the ground in these tubes that you see here. I'll point up, uses these sharp points to go under the ground. So it goes right to the roots for the plant. So for the plants that grow. So that's pretty exciting, I think. And you all should aspire to be urban farmers. So.
Thank you so much. It is so exciting to have all these amazing people to work with. And now that we're almost through the pandemic, the treatment plant will start offering tours of our wastewater treatment plant again. So if you can check out our website at madsewer.org, soon we will be able to start offering tours again. And we hope to see some of you actually come to the treatment plant so you can visit us. Are there any other questions? All right. Well, I appreciated this opportunity to talk to everybody about the really cool water cycle that we live in. I think Marty just hit it on the head here. We're really lucky. We have all the water that we'll ever have. And if we take really good care of it, we'll have it forever. But it takes each of us doing absolutely everything we can to treat the water the best we can. So make sure we're not putting things into the water that are really hard to take out. Being careful with how much water we're using, because we have to take that water from deep in the ground and use it. So yes, Catherine just put in the chat that toilets are not trash cans. So conserving your water, reusing it when you can, and we can do our best at the wastewater treatment plant to return it safely to the environment. But again, it comes down to each and every one of you doing your job too. So thank you all. We appreciate this opportunity. And it looks like there's another question here. I'm not sure what there's a question. We at the wastewater treatment plant, the question is asked about flushing bugs in the toilet. So we really try not to put things in the toilet that is not water, toilet paper, pee and poo. But if a bug happens to land in the toilet and makes it down, it's probably going to become fertilizer. We don't add the bugs at the wastewater treatment plant. They're just, they come with the water and they do a really good job of working to remove the pollutants from the microorganisms. The good bacteria is removing the bad microorganisms. But then we're able to recycle and reuse the same bugs so that they can keep cleaning the water. So it's really an exciting thing. There's another question here about how much bad bacteria are in the pipes compared to good microbes. Well, again, we don't add anything at the wastewater treatment plant. We use very much a biological process, which just means we're not adding chemicals, but there are the bugs that come. So we're treating water and poop and other things here. So we're getting those bacteria that come down the pipes and into the treatment plant. We have the majority of the microorganisms that are dangerous to human health or ecological or like water and stream health are removed during the treatment process, and anything that isn't is like goes through the UV light and is unable to reproduce or create. So the UV light is the last step, and so that the water that leaves here is disinfected and doesn't have those organisms that are able to reproduce in the freshwater streams. I'm not sure, like, I don't know how to exactly answer the question. But we'll get back to you on that. Does anyone have any other questions? All right, well, thank you all. Treatment staff, thank you for being here today. This is amazing. Thanks for letting us be part of this program, and we hope you all learned something, and come visit the wastewater plant if you want to learn more.